G'day, I'm Scott McGregor. Welcome to my place and welcome to my adventures down the line. This time to Vietnam. This is a place that I've been fascinated in ever since I was a kid. You see, the Vietnam War was on back then and a day didn't go by where it wasn't in the news. Various family members were involved. My sister even hitchhiked there in 1967, collecting war stories as a journalist. But that was then. What I'm interested in is what's the country like now? One thing I do know is that Vietnam has one of the great train journeys of the world. All the way from the south right up to the north, nearly 2,000 kilometres, through some of the most fantastic countryside. So, we better get going.
With China to the north and Laos and Cambodia to the west, Vietnam forms the eastern part of the Indo-Chinese peninsula. It's a long, thin country, which makes Vietnam a place of great diversity. From the exotic and traditional north, to the fast-moving, more westernised south, and Ho Chi Minh City, where our journey begins. Before the Vietnam War, Ho Chi Minh City was known as Saigon, and it's a habit that's pretty hard to break for a lot of southerners. It's Vietnam's largest city, and its economic powerhouse. The city's history actually goes back 300 years, but it's pretty obvious that the French gave it the look it has today. One of the first things you notice, though, is the traffic. I read somewhere that there are about 10 million motorbikes in Vietnam, and a third of them are here in Ho Chi Minh City. I can believe that. And as far as I can tell, there are no road rules either. Or none that anyone bothers to observe, anyway. Oh, this is better. A bit of space. Apparently, they paint the base of these trees white so that people won't run into them at night. Very thoughtful.
I know this place. It used to be the president of South Vietnam's palace. I'll never forget sitting down with the family watching television that day in 1975 when the North Vietnamese tanks burst through these gates here. It was a momentous time. It meant the end of the Vietnam War and the end of a long period of conflict.
This building was once the grand symbol of the South Vietnamese government, and it's preserved pretty much as it was in 1975.
This is the cabinet room. The South Vietnamese government ran the war from here. There would have been some pretty interesting decisions made in this room. We're deep underneath the palace now in the bunkers they call the war room. And this is the president's bedroom, which he used for emergencies. Right next door is the war room of the president, where he conducted the main part of the operation. And all these maps around here detail the skirmishes that were going on. This big map here has the route of the Re-unification Express clearly marked on it, heading all the way up north along the coast. That's the one we're on. And right through this door here is a network of tunnels that spread out underneath the main part of the city, just in case they need an escape route. The irony is, the president ended up surrendering. After the war, the government changed the name of the palace to the Re-unification Palace, just as they did the train. Seems to be a reoccurring theme here in Vietnam. Which reminds me, we've got a train to catch. Could I have a soft sleeper to Nha Trang, please? Even though we're going all the way to Hanoi, because we want to get on and off the train, you have to buy a ticket for that section only. How much?
201,000.
And this is another thing you've got to get used to in Vietnam, the currency. 201,000. You always seem to have a lot of it.
My soft sleeper to Nha Trang is about $16 US. But if you're going all the way through to Hanoi in one go, it'll be about 50 US, which is not bad value in anyone's money, I reckon. At last, the moment has arrived.
Thanks.
I'm about to begin my journey on the Re-unification Express. And what a troubled history this train has had. The line was first built by the French in colonial times, so that the country could be opened up to trade. But it quickly became a strategic target in the early struggles for independence, and every other conflict since. From the Japanese in World War II to the Americans during the Vietnam War, the line was bombed and sabotaged time and time again.
Beauty, home away from home.
I guess that only goes to show how important this line was to the country. And still is. After the Vietnam War, the government decided to rebuild the railway between Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, not only for commercial reasons, but as a symbol of unity. And it worked. 5 trains a day make the journey north and another 5 south, connecting and reunifying people in places right up and down the country.
And it doesn't stop there. The Re-unification Express is the beginning of the world's longest unbroken train journey, 10,000 kilometres from here in Ho Chi Minh City right through to Seville in Spain, via China, Russia and Europe. What a journey that'd be. But for now, my soft sleeper's just the ticket. It's a 7-hour trip to Nha Trang. I'm quite keen for some shut-eye. So, we'll see you in the morning. Good morning. We've come over 400 kilometres since we left Ho Chi Minh City last night. As usual, I didn't have too bad a sleep on the train at all. We're going to be in Nha Trang shortly, but before we do, let's have a bit of a look around the train. This is what they call hard sleeper, this carriage. It's got 6 berths in it. The good thing is, it's got its own air conditioning, no problem. There, you had a good sleep, obviously. Me too. This carriage is soft seat with aircon. This is soft seat, no aircon. Old wicker-back chairs, and you need your blanket in here. Saki, not first thing in the morning. How can you refuse the hospitality? Oh! Now they call this seating hard class, and this is budget priced. $20 US will get you a ticket from Ho Chi Minh all the way through to Hanoi. Not bad.
And I bet I end up riding on all those classes before I leave Vietnam.
They say Nha Trang's a busy fishing port. It's also a favourite holiday destination for Ho Chi Minhers. And why not? You jump on the train, overnight, you're here. When you don't know much about a place, I reckon a good start is to always make friends with a taxi driver. Or in this case, a cyclo driver. Hello?
Hi.
Yes, can you take me to see the city?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Terrific.
My trusty driver's name is Tuan, and he was very happy to show me around the place.
So over here.
What a smile.
Nha Trang was considered too far south to be attacked during the Vietnam War, but in 1975, when the communists were really on the offensive, the local South Vietnamese commander suddenly found the North Vietnamese army on his doorstep.
He was so unnerved by this that he panicked and fled the place without telling the Americans. When the Americans found out that Nha Trang was abandoned, they desperately tried to get their people out. The Americans did make it by the skin of their teeth, but unfortunately not all the locals did. That's great. Thank you. So, what do we owe you?
Well, 20,000.
20,000, okay. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, before I left Australia, I was told to call into this cafe and look up a bloke named Fung. So, here goes. Hello. Are you Fung by any chance?
Oh, yes, I am.
I'm Scott.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh,
Yeah.
have a seat, please.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, nice cafe you got.
Thank you.
And this is how they brew their coffee in Vietnam.
This is the real
Oh,
stuff.
yes.
So tell me, mate.
Yes.
There's a lot to see around Nha Trang, but what do you recommend?
Oh, in here have nice beach.
Being a local, Fung knows everything about Nha Trang's big draw card, the beach.
I can take you go right now.
Mate, that'd be great.
Oh, yes.
Throw the coffee back and away we go, eh?
Oh, yes.
All right, excellent.
Okay.
Nha Trang must have the best stretch of white beach in Vietnam, I reckon.
I stay in here forever. Tonight, I take you go to the islands.
Which island?
The Con Che Che Islands
one here?
out there. Yes, and
That
you can.
looks beautiful.
It's very nice view. You can get barbecue, everything, very nice.
Hey, this looks good.
Yes.
Very own cool kangaroo boat. It's fantastic, the timber work on this thing.
Oh yes.
Carved and made by hand.
Yes. About 3 months. Every
They
work.
certainly know how to build boats quickly in Vietnam.
Yes.
They must have the fastest chippies in the world.
Photo for me.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Excellent.
So, is this what I can expect from Vietnamese hospitality on the rest of my journey, Paul?
Oh yes.
Really?
Yes.
It's fantastic, mate.
We're heading north again, this time to Da Nang, another name I heard a lot when I was a kid.
It took the French 37 years, from 1899 through to 1936, to complete the line from Hanoi down to Ho Chi Minh City. This section, from Nha Trang up to Da Nang, was the last bit to be built.
It has some beautiful views along it as well, because it's here that spurs of the Trung Son mountain range come right down to the sea. So it wasn't possible to route the line through the valleys as engineers usually like to do. Instead, they had to build the track along the rugged coast. And that meant blasting a series of tunnels.
Construction of a railway line in Vietnam didn't get underway until 1880. Long before this part of the line was built, railway lines north from Hanoi into China were constructed. And it's a very interesting story. You see, back then, in the latter part of the 19th century, these colonies weren't paying their way. In fact, the French government considered these Indo-Chinese colonies, as they called them then, a national disgrace. They realised the only way it was going to turn a profit was if they built a railway to tap into the rich markets up in China. It wasn't that easy. For instance, the railway line up to the border at Lam Son took 5 years to go only 101 kilometres. If it wasn't malaria and the huge mountains to contend with, it was the difficult problem of marauding bandits capturing white engineers for ransom. A monument to a bygone era. The first trains to run in Vietnam were French-built, of course, like this old beauty here. Over the years, though, all the steam-powered engines have been gradually phased out. More's the pity.
Actually, this is what I really wanted to see in Da Nang. China Beach, the old American R&R spot.
My sister came here during the war, collecting stories about what life was like for the servicemen. Pretty quiet place here now. But in those days, it really rocked. Plane loads of American servicemen were brought here for a bit of R&R. A few days in the sun and surf, and then back into battle on a helicopter. Sobering thought, really.
But that water looks inviting. You can't come to China Beach and not go for a swim.
Oh, that was great. Really cleared out the cobwebs. Now, I've decided to have a little break from the Re-unification Express because I've also heard that there's a little town just 30 k's down the coast called Hoi An, and apparently it looks pretty much as it did 2 centuries ago. There used to be a railway here once, linking the old port town of Hoi An to Da Nang, but it was destroyed in a fierce storm in 1916 and never rebuilt. Pity. This would have been a great destination by train.
From the 17th to the 19th centuries, Hoi An was one of Southeast Asia's most important trading ports. It was known as FIFO then, and traders from all over the world came here, including the Dutch, Portuguese, Chinese and Japanese. Over time, though, the river silted up and trade gradually moved up the coast to Da Nang.
These would be free range, wouldn't they? What's this called? Kuah. Have you noticed anything different around here? No cars. Apparently the local committee have banned them to help maintain the beautiful atmosphere.
One thing that hasn't moved away from Hoi An is the making of cotton cloth. It's always been a big part of Hoi An's history, and nothing's changed. It certainly looks as if the machinery hasn't changed. Looking at this factory, you could almost imagine yourself back in the Industrial Revolution, 200 years ago. This is what a cotton mill must have looked like. It's fascinating. Now I know how the cotton for my shirts is made. But I think it's time I went looking for my hotel.
Apparently my accommodation's just round the corner here. Now, I was told when I booked it that it's pretty special.
And here we are, the Hong Fat Ancient Lodging House. Apparently these Chinese-style hotels were all over Hoi An once.
Oh, hello.
Good morning.
I am Scott.
Mr. Scott, we got your reservation.
Oh, yeah.
May I show you the rooms?
Yes, yes, please.
Follow me, please.
This place is very old, huh?
Yes, it's more than 300 years old.
300 years?
Yes, you can see the wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is the room.
These are the rooms?
Yes. Yeah, they come in.
Thank you.
Otherwise,
Yeah, yeah.
see you later.
Okay, bye-bye. Oh, wow. This is great. All this beautiful old teak panelling, very decorative. Solid exposed timber beams. Green tea. Nice touch. Mosquito net above the bed, much needed around these parts. You know what I find really appealing? All this dark timber panelling, long, thin room. Reminds me a bit of an old timber railway garage. I'm going to be very happy here. It's busy here in Hoi An.
This is Tu, a local guide who has graciously volunteered to show me around some of Hoi An's historical sites.
This bridge is beautiful.
Yes, this is Japanese plate. This was built in 17th century.
The bridge was built as a gesture of goodwill by the Japanese traders to link them with the Chinese community across the river.
Japanese.
It's perfect. You have the best tailors
Yes.
in the whole of Vietnam right here.
Next, Tu and I went to a 19th century Chinese congregation hall and temple. Look at these beautiful flowers. I've seen them everywhere on my travels in Vietnam. Tu says they're a symbol of heroism for all those who have fought in a war for the mother country. These congregation halls still play an important role in the lives of Vietnam's ethnic Chinese communities. And people still come from far and wide to celebrate in them at special festivals.
You can see the leader statues is a lady.
Well, we're just about ready to catch up with the Re-unification Express again. And we've got a bit of a treat in store, because just north of Da Nang is the Hai Van Pass, and I've heard it's one of the most scenic sections on the whole line. We're going to be in the box seat for the view.
The pass begins about 30 minutes out of Da Nang as the train enters the first of many tunnels. Climbing higher and higher, we pass through lush jungle and across mountain streams.
At the mouth of every tunnel is a flagman holding up his yellow and red flag. I guess he's saying it's safe for the train to go in, and that's exactly what we're doing. This is the long tunnel. We've been in here 2 minutes already.
Then, as you reach the top of the pass, the view opens out.
You look down to these deserted beaches down there. They look so isolated and romantic. We're on such sharp curves. When you come around a corner, because we're right on the edge of the cliff, it feels like you're flying. The Hai Van Pass is also the dividing line between the northern climate and the southern climate in Vietnam. South it's equatorial, north it's more temperate. And because we've just crossed the path, you can really feel it. It's a touch chilly. Pull your head in, Scott. There's a bit of jungle.
On the descent, the train picks up speed until it reaches the crossing at Khao Hai Lagoon, marking the end of the Hai Van Pass. From here on, it's a straight run through to Dong Ha.
Oh, it's a bit of a chilly morning here in Dong Ha. We've come 1,200 kilometres since leaving Ho Chi Minh City. Got another 600 kilometres to go before we hit Hanoi. Now, I haven't stopped off to see Dong Ha necessarily. What I'm here to see is, for me, the most infamous place in Vietnam, the demilitarised zone.
Mr. Scott!
Is it? Hello, hello.
Ung is a local government representative who's going to show me around.
Yeah.
The history of the Demilitarised Zone, or DMZ as it's known, goes back a lot further than the Vietnam War. You see, for political reasons after World War II, the victorious Allied armies decided that in Vietnam, the occupying Japanese army would surrender to the British south of the Ben Hai River and to the communist Chinese government north of it. Then Ho Chi Minh, the Vietnamese communist leader from the north, managed to gain control of much of the country and declare independence. But with the support of the international community, the French took the country back, though they never really controlled it again. What followed was an 8-year guerrilla war called the War of Resistance. In 1954, the French were defeated by Ho Chi Minh, and both sides agreed to an armistice. And part of that agreement provided for a temporary demilitarised zone, 3 miles either side of the Ben Hai River. And that is how the DMZ came into being.
The river here was never meant to be a political boundary. It and the DMZ were set up as temporary solutions until elections could be held, set down for 1956. But then the southern regime got cold feet when they realised that Ho Chi Minh's very popular northern government were likely to win the election, and it wasn't even held. And that's when the separate nations of North and South Vietnam came into being, with the river here as the boundary.
Some of the places in the DMZ, like Camp Carroll, Khe Sanh, Doc Mew and Hamburger Hill, became household names.
A lot of them have been reclaimed by the jungle now, but even after 30 years of peace, there's still plenty of deadly evidence of what went on. This is where it's all happening here. No, they don't mind working rain, hail or shine, eh, on?
This is the site of an old South Vietnamese army base. The troops here were really dug in, being constantly bombarded by the North. Consequently, there's bombs and unexploded ammunition here from both sides.
Yes, on this type
Cliff Allen works for MAG, the Mine Advisory Group, an international non-government organisation who specialise in clearing sites like this.
This is what we found just this morning in this one part of the site with this one team.
How much of the stuff do you dig up?
We find a few items a day, but if you're really interested, we could go and look at what we're discovering on a...
MAG have been in this part of the DMZ since 1999, and in that time, they've cleared over 6,000 items of unexploded ordnance and mines. What you're seeing here, though, is just what's been collected in the last 5 days.
Is it safe?
No, none of it's safe.
What are we
It's
doing
all,
here?
well, we have to store it somewhere prior to demolition, and this is the way in which we find is the best way to do it. Sandbags around the outside to contain any explosion should one occur.
But it's okay to handle
No, it's not okay to handle. I mean, it's safe for you to stand in here, but it's not safe for you to handle or touch anything.
Generally, where's all this stuff come from?
This is American. Over here we've got an array of mortars from Bulgaria, Soviet Union, China, American ones there, Soviet anti-tank mines. That's been wrapped up in wet mud and contained because it was leaking white phosphorus, which is quite hazardous. These are quite interesting objects. These are what we call bomblet light units, which are dropped from an aircraft. Around the periphery is like ball bearings, which obviously will fly out. These normally we don't touch because they have so many inherent dangers. This particular one is quite dangerous in that the fuse is exposed there, and just a light tap and we'd go up in a puff of smoke, basically.
Nice. Even though the war ended in 1975, it seems like it's still going on, because since then, over 5,000 people have been killed or injured from landmines and bombs in this province alone. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Okay, hun. We've got a train to catch. Now, let's go.
Well, here we go again, the Re-unification Express. This time it's the night train, bang on time.
Well, here's cheers, fellas. Happy travelling. Off to university. Lucky you, eh?
Hanoi, sao?
Train come to Hanoi, walk across to Haiphong. Now, I like your hat. Very useful. Glasses on. And he's ready for business, I reckon. We're just rolling into the outskirts of Hanoi now. And I've got a great sense of anticipation because for me, Hanoi is probably the most mysterious city of all. It's the capital of Vietnam and the terminus of the Re-unification Express, but certainly not the end of our journey. Because from here, lines branch out to the east, north and west. And after we have a good look around the city, we're going to be riding on some of them.
I'm also excited because I'm going to look up a great old mate of mine by the name of Max Hart. I haven't seen him for about 10 years. Apparently, he came to Hanoi and just fell in love with the place. Now he considers himself one of the locals.
Scott.
Here he is. How are you? Just been a while.
Hey, how'd you sleep? Did you sleep all right?
Oh, mate, the train was great. I slept like a log and finished
good.
my book.
Oh,
Good
well,
stuff.
very good. Now, listen, you hungry?
I'm starving, mate.
What about some Vegemite on toast and a big cup of hot coffee?
Oh, you know the way to an Aussie traveller's heart.
Max has been running a restaurant in Hanoi, so I think I'm in pretty good hands.
People for you.
Before we go too far, though, how about this railway station? Grand French colonial if ever I saw it. Except for that middle bit, which was hit by, you guessed it, a bomb during the Vietnam War. But for a city that was at war for so long and was bombed so much, Max tells me that much of the lovely old French colonial feeling still exists. Wide boulevards, elegant buildings, and mercifully, not too many cars.
Oh, brekie's great, mate. Good. Can I pinch a bit of your bacon? Yeah. Good on you. I tell you, this is the last place I expected to find a cafe like this.
Mate, you've got to keep the Aussies happy when they're here.
Much appreciated, mate.
Now, listen, what do you want to see in Hanoi?
Well, you know, just looking around the streets, there's so much colour and movement. I mean, let's start locally.
Well, I brought you through the old quarter, so what about we start there?
Sounds great.
It's in the old quarter that you see the real character of Hanoi. No wide boulevards here, just crowded streets filled with energy, noise, and lots of things to buy.
Going back, generations, Hanoi had 36 craft or trade-based streets. And we had everything. We still do. Shoe Street, Shirt Street, Silk Street, Sandal Street, Tin Street, Fish Street, you name it. In fact, I live in Banana Street.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And so this street is
What do you reckon?
Paper Lantern Street or something.
Exactly.
Is
mate.
that right?
Exactly, Paper Lantern Street.
All the bashing and the tinkering. This is obviously Tinsmith Street. This is great workmanship, mate. When you said this is old, this goes way back, what are you referring to?
Oh, mate, over 1,000 years.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Gee, now, this is colourful. Ah, don't tell me. This is Alta Street. What about competition? I mean, all these shops are together in one spot. How does it work?
I don't know. It's the consumer's paradise here. It really is.
What do you make of this?
Gee, you're in heaven here, aren't you?
Ask her if the railway line makes a good workbench.
Hey, em critique Lamadacon?
Good workbench?
Yeah, she said
Yes.
great. She's right here.
Cutting it back with a bit of 120 wet and dry, eh? Such beautiful pieces of mahogany they're using. Yeah.
It's great, isn't it? Có việc ở đây cho anh ấy không?
Các bác xin việc thì được, có gì mà không được không?
What did you say?
He said 7 o'clock tomorrow morning you can start.
It'll be the first time I've ever stripped back a Chinese throne, mate.
Well, I've got to start somewhere.
So what are you using? Can I have a look? A bit of a bamboo stick. Bit of belt, no problem. Oh, mate, you get the hang of this, hey?
Làm được không?
Làm được, các bác làm được.
No, he said you're going real good.
One thing you'll find everywhere in Hanoi is evidence of former President Ho Chi Minh. Every day, people from all over Vietnam and the world queue up at the mausoleum to see his embalmed body.
So are the queues like this all the time, mate?
Mate, it's been like this every day for 10 years since I've been here.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, Uncle Ho, he didn't want this to happen. He wanted to be buried. And the Communist Party overruled him.
Just nearby is his house, lovingly preserved as he left it. Though how much time he actually spent here during the Vietnam War is debatable, because I reckon it would have been a bombing target for sure.
You know what? I remember very clearly when he died in 1969. And the ironic thing is, he never got to see the country unified.
I know, it's sad, isn't it? That's how you get there.
But Now it's time to explore those lines that fan out from Hanoi. And first, I'm heading a few hours north.
Here we go, hard seat. I told you I'd be riding in all the different seats before I left Vietnam. Now, a mate of mine back in Australia has given me a bit of a quest. He said if you catch the local train north of Hanoi to a place called Tai Nguyen, I might find something that'll really knock my socks off. Now, he's never been wrong before, so here goes. Not a lot happening at Tai Nguyen today, but my instructions are to follow the railway line north out of the station, take the branch line to the left, and follow my nose. Well, this looks interesting. An industrial graveyard. Look at this wonderful old steam crane. I think I'm onto something here. That was a whistle.
Well, there you go. I found the last working steam locomotive in Vietnam. Get me on board, quick. Actually, there's not just one. There's a few steam engines, and they all belong to the Tai Nguyen steel mill.
I've been able to work out a little bit of what's going on here today. We've collected a whole pile of iron ore in some wagons, and we're bringing it to the steel mill. So, it's a day of shunting, I guess. Couldn't be any better. You can hear the old clanking of the conrod. Clonk, 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 clonk. It's been a long time since they've had any attention.
These rustic old locos are Japanese built from the 1930s, and they look like it. It's a really rare thing around the world these days to see steam engines working exactly as they used to, before the diesels and electrics came along.
This is good, we're getting up a bit of speed now. And she rattles along.
Up until today, the mill has been pretty precious about letting people see them in action. In fact, as far as I can tell, I'm the first foreigner to be allowed into the yards. What a treat.
This is excellent. That really was a coup. And if you think I'd find that hard to top, well, our next journey takes us east to one of the world's greatest natural wonders. We're going hard seat to Ha Long Bay.
And I'm really interested in this train.
It's a mixed train, the same type that I used to ride in when I was a kid. They carry both passengers and freight. Unfortunately, we don't have them in Australia anymore, but here in Vietnam, they're very much a part of the local scene. Although I can tell you, Vietnamese mixed trains are very different from the ones I knew. What's in here? Oh. What's going on here? Tea, Vietnam. Oh, yes. Ah, lovely. Come on. Okay. Every good train has a dining car, and every dining car has a kitchen. Have a look at this. We've got the hot coals, we've got the hearth. It's the real thing. Rice, just what you need. This you? Eh? What's... Zao! Zao! I was trying to make my way through to have a look at the loco, but I think my way's been blocked by this produce. The first 3 carriages of this train are just full of stuff. This is all onions. The whole carriage full of onions. The poultry carriage. This is unreal.
And how about this? So that they'll weigh more, the farmers stuff their birds full of tofu just before they get to market. Anything to get a good price, I reckon.
All right. I've seen everything now. Cook your kong.
Có khỏe không?
You know you're getting close to Halong Bay when you see these really unusual limestone formations. Well, it's a bit smoky and a bit noisy. But this is definitely the spot to be. Wow, end of the line.
All I need now is a ride down to the dock.
Good, do it now? Yeah, okay, good.
I'm off to see the World Heritage listed Halong Bay, and it's nothing short of spectacular. 3,000 strangely carved islands surrounded by crystal clear water. Tan is a friend of Max's from Hanoi, and I was told in no uncertain terms to seek him out on the good ship Ming Quang.
So, Tan, we've got little boats and things here. What are they doing?
Oh, there's a fishing village.
Oh.
This is about for nearly 10 years now.
A permanent fishing village.
Yes.
This island here fascinates me. What's that?
This is Ern's Island.
Urns, as in
Yeah.
the jar.
Yeah. look at the shape, you know, it's look exactly like that, actually.
These amazing islands are actually ancient weathered limestone formations. But according to legend, the bay was created long ago by the swishing tail of a huge dragon. Fair enough.
Oh, here come the fruit sellers. You want a banana?
Yeah, we'll go and get for you.
Yeah, you stay there. One of us has got to stay on the wheel.
Sorry.
I'll go and get them. Chewy? That's Vietnamese for banana. Yeah. Oh, hold on.
You may have noticed
How
by
much?
now that I'm quite partial to bananas.
$1. There you go. Okay.
Halong Bay is a big R&R stop for many people who come to Vietnam. Definitely a place to chill out and enjoy the water after the rigours of the road, or the train, or whatever the case may be.
Okay, Tan, so where are we swimming, mate?
Just through that. Yeah.
What, the tunnel?
Yeah.
Is there a railway station at the other end, mate?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, just go, I'll go after you. Yeah. Here we go. Number 1. Number 2.
Let's go!
Number 3. Number 4.
Right, isn't it?
I think there's a fin out there, look.
Fin! Fin! Get after it! He's the fin of the mermaid.
When I first arrived in Hanoi, I said I was going to ride some of the lines that branched out from there. My first trip took me to the steam locos. This one to Halong Bay. Now, I'm heading back to Hanoi again for one last journey.
Well, it's early in the morning, but once again I'm on the road. You see, I've been invited up to the old French hill station at Sapa, way up near the Chinese border. And after riding hard seat on the local trains for a while, I'm going for a complete change of pace. And here it is, the Victoria Express.
This is the complete opposite to the mixed train in every way. In fact, it's total luxury.
It's also the Victoria Hotel's clever way of transporting their guests from Hanoi up to Sapa in the Hang Lien Mountains. 4-star luxury. These beautiful timber panel compartments are set up with plush seating for the day journey up to Sapa, but on the return trip, which is overnight, these seats fold down to form bunks and are made up with beautiful soft bedding. Ah, that's what I call soft sleeper. Thank you. French, of course. The good thing is, But there's not much to do on the train to Sapa except enjoy the food, the company, and the excellent view.
Including the mighty Red River.
It's called the Red River, not because of the political persuasion of the region, but because the water has iron oxide in the silt, and that gives the river its colour. I think the river would have been an advantage to the old French engineers who built this line, because they've followed the valley and simply cut the line into the soft clay of the northern riverbank for the entire journey. For us, the traveller, well, it's given us water views the whole way.
The journey ends at Laokai, where you'll find yourself staring out across the river at China and a rather unusual collection of tall buildings. Quite out of character for this part of the world. Then it's a short bus ride up to Sapa, and this. Everything you've ever imagined about the mountains in Asia. Terraced paddy fields, spectacular views, and plenty of fresh air. Strangely enough, I'm told the name Sapa means town of sand. I don't know why. To me, it's more like a town of clouds.
The room number 2 and 4, please. Yes, sir.
Good thing.
Yes.
The Victoria Hotel is in Sapa Township, a small village developed by the French in the 1930s as a hill station retreat. A place for them to escape the summer heat of Hanoi.
It's going to be lovely to have a little break here, but in keeping with the tradition of coming up to Sapa, I can't wait to trek into the mountains and meet the locals, the colourful hill people who call this place home. It's good.
These are the ethnic minority Hmong people. The French called them the Montagnards, or hill people. They're fiercely independent and to this day keep their own traditions, language and dress.
Yeah, there goes the hat. 10. 10? Yeah? 10? Yeah? Is this your, show me, is this your baby?
Yes.
Your baby?
Yes. Promise.
Your baby?
Yes.
Fair dinkum. Not the ears?
No.
Huh? Oh no. No? No? Okay. Yeah, how much is that? 30?
In the summer, Sapa is too nice to stay in Sapa.
This is Mr. Viet, a local guide, and he's taking me on my long-awaited trek into the foothills.
Boy,
Yes.
so Viet, where are we going?
Now we will go to visit the finish.
Yeah.
From here,
We're going to visit the village of a local tribe called the Sao.
you know, here's the Gaza people. In Vietnam, we have 54 tribes.
54 different tribes.
Yes.
As you can see, the Sao distinguish themselves from other tribes by their distinctive red headdress.
After a hard trek up the mountain, this is just what you need, isn't it? A cup of tea at the end of the road. Hello. Ah, thank you very much. Come on. Come on.
Cheers.
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 Thank you. They were Chinese soldiers.
The railway tracks of Vietnam have taken me on a wonderful journey. One that's helped me better understand a country I've been curious about for much of my life.
Now here we are right at the Chinese border, as far as you can go in Vietnam. And as I look back down the tracks we've been travelling on, I have a great sense of wonder about this country. It's been the most fantastic journey. While our adventure ends here, these railway lines, don't they, keep on rolling through. And isn't that the great thing about catching a train? So we'll see you down the line.